I left my divorce with exactly 3 kids, $2, a couch, and a beat-up old television. It was that kind of year. The more I tried to make things okay, the more they seemed to fall apart. But then again, making things okay requires optimism and money, and I didn't have either. That summer, the kids and I, minus Dad, who is living down the street, moved into a tiny rental house with a great view of, ironically, our old house. Complete with the new family who moved in as if to pick up where we left off. Oh, I was desperate, all right. And I did what every desperate mom of 3 kids does. I got a kitten. We adopted Rosie in June, a few weeks after she was born. She was a soft, pale orange color, almost pink when I think of her now, and she loved us instantly. Now, I'm not a cat person. In fact, I have asthma, and I'm incredibly allergic to cats. But there was something that came over me when I saw this kitten with my kids. She made them smile, and I hadn't seen that in a long time. Within weeks, everything at my house revolved around cats. Cat toys, cat litter, cat poop, cat food, cat drawings, and even cat costumes for Halloween. The girls, my girls who were 5 and 7 at the time, would dress Rosie in doll clothes and parade her down the street in the stroller. And then my son, who was 13 at the time, would go and rescue her and just proclaim how awful they were to do that. But we might have been broke and things were not so good, but at least we had each other and things looked like they were really turning around. I thought for sure that the cat excitement would die down as Rosie got older and bigger, but I never had the chance to find out. We arrived home one night to find a box and a note on our front porch, and Rosie was inside. She had been hit by a car outside of our house and placed in a box by a well-meaning neighbor, which I still to this day don't know how someone could do that to a house full of children, but I think they meant well, and it was better than finding my cat in the road. We buried her in the backyard that night. Rosie didn't live for long, and of course losing her was devastating. I can't quite put into words what my kids went through that year. But I fear that so many disappointments would somehow change them and make them cynical. I wanted them to believe that happy endings were possible, and that life was hard, but that yes, if we were strong and resilient, we would survive and happy times would happen again. In their efforts to keep Rosie's memory alive, and perhaps to grieve for her, my 2 girls decided to start drawing pictures of cats and pinning them on a bulletin board. The collage grew to about 8 drawings when I got an idea. Guys, I said, we're going to make 100 cats. Why? Stella said. Because we can. And my other daughter said, that's a lot of cats. What if we get sick of making cats? And I said, you can make something else if you want to, but we will not stop until we get 100 cats. And when we're done, we're going to have a 100 cats party, and it will be awesome. And then, of course, my son chimed in. That is the stupidest idea I've ever heard, Mom. Like, you're really going to make 100 cats anyway. And when you do, you think that the 100 cats are going to make everything all better. And that was it. At that moment, my resolve strengthened into something bordering on obsession. I might not be able to give my kids a fairy tale childhood, and I might not have been able to spare them the grief of losing a pet. But this time, I would keep my promise. I would follow through. I would teach my kids that I could be someone to be counted on. By God, we were going to make 100 cats. So for the next 12 months, we gathered around the kitchen table to make cats. True to his word, my son never joined in making a cat. But I can report that he often sat around with us and colored and occasionally gave us ideas for new cats. The chess cat that you'll see in my PowerPoint is one of his cats. Occasionally we got bored with making cats, but we persevered. Sometimes we felt like reaching 100 cats would take 100 years. But we took it day by day, cat by cat. There were no mistakes. Every cat was beautiful. Each one held a story. Each one taught a lesson. A few months into the cat project, Stella, my youngest, who was 5 at the time, made a very special cat with black curly hair and earrings. This is my cat version of that famous girl that I look like, she said. And for the life of me, I had no idea who she was talking about. So I was probing her a little bit. You know, she's really famous like the president. And she has curly hair. And I was like, you know, I don't know. We kind of put it away for a while. But eventually, a few weeks later, at Winco, Stella was able to show me her celebrity twin on the cover of Oprah magazine. So apparently my 37-pound redhead is really actually quite similar to Oprah. Minus the fact that she's not a 50-year-old black woman. They're very, very, you'll see, they're very similar. So I learned a great many lessons through the 100 Cats project. And many of them are applicable to my teaching. And as much so as they are to parenting. And I narrowed it down to 10 lessons that I learned from it. Number one, sometimes bad things happen. Number two, you can't fix everything, nor should you. Hard times grow big muscles. Number three, keep your word. You can't teach your kids or your students without trust. Number four, give meaning to the work your children do and find ways to archive it. Number five, kids sometimes see themselves differently than you do. Let them be themselves. Number six, imperfection is interesting, which was kind of the result of the girls got into this phase where they were like, they messed up on that cat's tail, and I was like, well, you would still love that cat if it had no tail, you know, if it had like gotten its tail chopped off, right? And they were like, of course we would. So they started to be more forgiving of their artwork, and it was a good lesson, you know, with that less wasted paper too. So be the person you want your kids to model, and I think that was my purpose in doing that activity. I wanted to show my kids that I could start something and finish it, even if it was really a made-up purpose. Number 8, spend time together without electronics, which was a great benefit of what we did because we didn't have I didn't have the money for the Xbox or the gadgets, but we did have a lot of fun together without it. Number 9, help your children set big goals and show them how to achieve them. Even at a young age, life's greatest joys come from hard work and discipline. And that kind of rang true for my son, even though he didn't participate in the project. He saw my just determination with completing that project, and I was training for a marathon. And my ex-husband at the time made some remark to my son that I was never going to do it, and he was like, "Oh, Dad, she is going to run that marathon," because he was witnessing my obsession with many things at that point. So I was teaching him that I followed through. And finally, number 10, find reasons to celebrate. And so we ended up doing that when we finished the project. The 100 Cats project was completed in late spring, almost a year after it started. In the end, 15 friends, young and old, contributed drawings to the project and helped us to celebrate our 100 Cats party. I'm happy to report that all 4 of us are happier and stronger and still on occasion enjoy drawing cats. So I brought my 100 Cats poster, but also a little PowerPoint that I made of some of the